Over 1,000 Ipswich fans are following their team on the road this weekend to Accrington, looking to set a record of 4 away wins in a row, standing in their way. Accrington Stanley. Who are they? Exactly. This is the Blue Monday podcast. Hello and welcome to the Blue Monday podcast, discussing Ipswich Town up or down since 2015. I'm Richard Woodard. You're tuning into the Prematch show live, brought to you in partnership with our friends at the Greyhound. And this is available on podcast audio this week and video. We want to hear from you in the chat. We want to get the discussion going. We want to hear about your predictions for this weekend. We want to hear about your lineups. Any other bits and pieces that you want to talk about, we'll come to you in a bit. But joining me as always and here to correct me factually on the introduction, because I think I missed out a salient point, the word first, didn't I? Or start of the season or something.
Start of the season. I didn't want to be too pedantic. Yeah, we have won 4 away. We have won 4 away games in the bounce. It's at the start of the season sets the new record. That would be the new record we're going for tomorrow. Apparently, we've done it in the 30s or something. We've equaled it with our 3 so far. But if we win tomorrow and get the 4th, it sets a new club record. So nearly there.
Yeah, well so done. If you just watch the pre-intro, my little sly dig there, and then you've added a comment about how I've screwed up, then make sure you've listened to this bit. I don't know why I'm saying that, because most folk should have done that by. Anyway, let's crack on, shall we? Let's say hello to some folk. Jules, good to see you with us as always. Charlie D, you one of the first on the chat. James, good to see you with us. Flim Flam, evening chums. James Rudder, yeah, you mentioned this, Seb. 3 live pods in a week. We are truly blessed by Blue Monday kind. And you said it quite rightly. Is it 3 in 4 days?
Yeah. Last night, tonight, and then Sunday being the big 600th episode.
Bloody
so,
hell.
Give the people what they want, Richard.
Need to get some hobbies, don't we? But we've got some stuff about Aluka and Bond. We'll come to that, certainly. G'day to Michael from Brisbane. Interesting thought on Burgess. We will definitely come back to that. David W's with us. Charlie D's clocked the goalkeeper top. Yes. I don't know why I've gone for long sleeve. It's getting sweetie in here. MW, evening to you. Cornish Mariner, great squad depth. PM indeed. Yeah, well, should we talk about squad depth, Seb? And it's a lovely segue there, if I do say so myself. End of the transfer deadline day. I'm so delighted about that. I bloody hate deadline day. This kind of artificial, constructed jeopardy about will people sign or not. I know other folk like it. I'm not.
Do you not like fan. The excitement? I mean, how many years did we have of, TWTD understands nothing will be done today? At least it's exciting now. I mean, last year was Morsey and was Selena confirmed in the morning of deadline day last year, I think. And this year we're signing people. At least it's exciting now. Surely
something happening.
Surely you're more. You prefer it more than the quiet non-events that we've had in years past. Surely.
I would just rather that there's that you can make transfers throughout the season and then it ends in about March, because I think it just creates,
like it used to when it worked fine.
Yeah, exactly right. I just think it creates issues for clubs. And look at Burton. They probably have little choice but to accept whatever fee, the 6-figure sum we offered for Adame, and now they've lost their best player and had no time whatsoever to find a replacement. So I kind of think it just creates these issues and forces teams. And we've seen the whole Will Grigg and Sunderland thing on Sunderland tonight out, which was hilarious. But I prefer the good old days when there wasn't one of these windows. And I just think who stands to benefit from this? Football agents and Sky Sports. And then Sky are already in my bad books anyway. So anyway, talk to us about the recruitment. Seb, you're pleased with these signings, no doubt.
Very much so. Yeah, I mean, the story broke early yesterday morning about Hadmay. Is it Ghassan Hadmay? I'm going to go with, yeah. So very excited about that. About that one sort of broke. A player like we have seen so many times this window comes completely out of the blue, not even mentioned at all in the run up, and good pedigree. Another athlete that's joined the squad. We're clearly going for physicality and pace, like the guy said on the live show last night. Make sure you check out the live show with Craig and Joe, and a guest appearance from Phil Ham last night discussing all the details. But yeah, no, a decent buy. Gives us an option up front, a player that's comfortable with his back to goal and gives us something different, because we know we needed something, let's be honest. We spent all summer thinking we might get George Hurst, then we thought Macaulay Bond might be coming back in, but I think this is a pretty decent plan B, and looking forward to what he can do. And the icing on the cake of another great window was Kamara, wasn't it? fell out with
Kamara or Kamara? David W wants to know in the comments.
Brilliant. Obviously fell out last year with Plymouth. Not played so far this season. We're gonna have to be a bit patient with him, but what a great player. He's one of the best players in the league last year. He'll bring energy and look to move the ball forward on the pitch, and he'll run all day. And yeah, just two more excellent signings. And the squad is now absolutely immense. Let's be honest. You look at that squad, and yeah, you pretty much can't find fault anywhere. But another brilliant window, much more calmer than last year. And I don't think we'll be seeing the same issues we had last year, where we get to Christmas time and a few of the players that we've bought in move on because they're not getting game time and not fitting in. This seems to be much more calculated, much more kind of thought out. Maybe we've now got a recruitment room, we don't know. But yeah, just two more excellent signings to cap off a really good window. And I'm also glad it is closed. I quite enjoy deadline day, but I'm glad it's closed now. We know what we've got until January the 1st. And yeah, let's go out there and give the league hell.
Yeah, and two players, and there's been quite an enjoyable discussion about this on Twitter today. I think as a consequence, I like to think of it as a consequence of Craig and Joe's chat on Thursday night about two players who have maybe not, you like to think that the criteria for our signings is a little bit better than this, but who have played well against us in recent times. Obviously, Adama in more recent weeks against us in that 1-0 Burton win, and caused a great save out of Christian Walton. But even Kamara last year, I think in the away game at Plymouth, had a good one against us. So that's the way to get yourself a move to Ipswich, is just to screw us over, isn't it? Maybe that's the strategy, Seb. I don't know.
Maybe, yeah. It always bodes well that when you play well against a club, I guess you get noticed on the radar. We had a good little poll in our Telegram group earlier, didn't we? People were saying, can we think of previous examples of players that have played well against us and gone on to be signed by the club? And we sort of threw John McGreal in there and Mark McGuinness a couple of years ago. So there is something in that, obviously. But, they're two absolutely quality players. Certainly Kamara is. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what he can do in a Township.
Yeah, and I guess we need to talk about some exits as well. I mean, the Tyrese Simpson situation has kind of been dragging on for quite a while. I mean, since the January transfer window, realistically, hasn't it? I guess my personal reflection is I don't necessarily appreciate some of the criticism that he's received, and I would guess that it's not a situation that any of us want, where a young player who's impressed has to force his way out of the club, or feels like he needs to force his way out of the club because he's not valued. And we look at Liam Gibbs, and we talked about that on this podcast before. But a 4-year deal, and he's ended up at Huddersfield. A lot of folk have criticised his agent, but his agent's done pretty well for him, hasn't he, Seb?
He has, yeah. I mean, I think when the dust settles and everyone looks back, I'd imagine all parties involved in this will have a tinge of regret and think, we could have done better. I didn't like the way we suddenly recalled him in Swindon and almost gave him that ultimatum to say, sign up or you're not going back there to play on loan for the rest of the season. But I think it was important it got done. Like you say, it seems to have dragged on forever. And we saw the leak earlier. Was it last Friday or end of last week when he was pictured in the video at Huddersfield? So we knew it was done. It was just taking ages to get it across the line. And it's good for everyone it's done. He's got himself a great deal. Is it 4 years, isn't it? Probably on a lot more money than he was on here. A chance for him to go out and kind of try and prove himself in the world a little bit. And I guess, it's another one like Liam Gibbs. We have to kind of learn from, make sure it doesn't happen on too many more occasions. But important for everyone, it's done. The last thing you wanted. I mean, I feel a bit sorry for Simpson. He's lost 9 months of his career, hasn't he? He lost 6 months at the back end of last year, lost pre-season, was clearly training elsewhere or training on his own. So I think it's good for him that he's got himself this move to go and see what he can do. I presume we're well protected in terms of a sell-on fee and stuff. And like I said, I think people will look back and probably a tinge of regret from all parties on this one, but good luck to him.
Yeah, and I think maybe, hopefully, folk might reflect on, criticism from, none of us know what's going on.
No, and he's a kid, isn't he? Was he 19, 20 years old? If that, he's a kid. If you or me in our day jobs were offered more money for the same day job elsewhere, we'd probably have our head turned a little bit and stuff. And you got to remember these are people with short careers, so you have to take the best opportunities that come to you. I don't like the people giving him stick and stuff because he's a young man. Let's wish him all the best and we move on.
Yeah, and hope that he's not the new Jordan Rhodes. There's two players. I've mentioned two players that we regrets. Let's talk about ITFC women very briefly. Really delighted for them after a really difficult start to the season. 6 senior starting players out, unavailable, and obviously the departure of Paige Beak as well. But managed to get a win on the board against Billericay. A really nice move, sweeping move, and Natasha Thomas off the mark as well. So really great for them. A weekend off though for them, which is great because all of these injuries, Seb, that have caused us to have to name only 4 players on the bench, and then some cup action in a few weeks. But good to see the women getting up and running with a win, and an Essex Suffolk kind of derby as well situation. So nice to boost the mood. I'm sure. Can't we agree?
Yeah, very much so. Important they got off to got the season up and running after the 2 defeats. Do we know any length of time with the injuries? Are we talking long term or?
So opening day we lost Zoe Barrett and Kyle Robertson. I think neither of them are particularly long term, but still need to confirm details on those. So hopefully weeks, not months.
Yeah.
Lucy O'Brien, I think, is weeks. Lucy Egan is October time, and then you've got Blue Wilson and Sophie Peskett, who are still coming back from really severe long-term injuries, and hopefully that'll be before the end of the year. No one really knows on those, and you don't want to rush them. So I'm trying to remember if I've missed anyone out there. I think I probably have.
Like you say, it's a useful weekend to have off with Watford having the international call-ups. A useful break in the schedule, and then go again on the 11th.
Yeah, exactly right. So I think that in terms of bits and pieces of news, I think we'll pick up on availability of Ipswich players when we talk about the Accrington game, which we'll do in a sec. Let's just do a few more live comments. We are aware you are out there, folks. So do get your thoughts, opinions, perspectives, particularly on the weekend game. In the comments, will come to you. Good to see Callie joining us. Big test tomorrow. I have a feeling we'll get a win. Want to see that optimism. Charlie's liking the idea of Adami on the bench. Comes on at 70 minutes, and that strategy, Seb, has worked really well for us about Ladapo kind of a battering ram and not giving defenders any peace, and then you bring on Tyrese, John Jules, or Caden Jackson just to run at them. So I think that strategy feels really good. A lot of discussion on how we pronounce Camara. There you go, Camara or Camara.
Are you going Camara? Are you? Just so we can get it ready now, like the Atkinson debate we had for 3 months last season.
Well, have we settled on Ladapo yet and Ladapo?
Ladapo, isn't it?
Oh, that's what you said, Ladapo last week.
Oh, did I? I think it is Ladapo. No, I don't know.
Oh, here we go. You need to watch last week's show back. I got a lot of abuse for criticising you for that. Never mind. I always get abuse. Hello, everyone. If you want to give me some love, feel free. Callie's also preempting some chat that we had in the green room before about Burgess and Lee. We will come back to those definitely. Some questions about Davis. I'm not aware of any issues there, Ben, but we'll come back to that one. And Jules, if we win tomorrow, that's a big statement. Or today, depending on when you're listening. If you're listening, by the way, on the way to the game, we do love hearing from folk who are driving up or have just called at the services to get a Greg's or something else. I don't know why I'm like the BBC. Other service station outlets are available. Get yourself a Whopper or something.
They are heading north, so Greg's is quite apt.
Greg's. I mean, there'll be a Greg's on every service station. So, but big statement, says Jules, if we win. And I mean, this is becoming a bit of a cliche when it comes to Ipswich, but these are the teams that we need to beat. I mean, we need to beat everyone,
especially with what's coming up later on in September as well.
Question for Seb from Flim Flam. What's the weather in Accrington tomorrow? I mean, miserable, right? North of the wall.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was going to be like it was today, where it's not rained and it's been a bit kind of overcast, but 20 degrees. But I was messaged earlier. Apparently, it's going to rain, and there's no. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, what's Callie said? 50% chance of rain from 3 p.m. Yeah, apparently it might well be a bit of a coat job because there's also it's an open terrace, isn't it? So it can't be as bad as 3 years ago, though, the October game when it just chucked it down for the entire 90 minutes. Hopefully, it won't be that bad.
How many times have you been to Accrington now?
This will be my third.
Okay, hat trick ball.
Hopefully, I'll see a win.
I was going to say, how many wins have you seen?
Yeah, none. Yeah.
Yeah, I think many of us have, to be fair, at Accrington. Charlie was surprised Hladky didn't move on, Seb?
Yes, I was. Yeah, I mean, he had that debate, that sort of link earlier in the window with the Scottish side, didn't he? I thought he'd want to go and play, to be honest, and I thought signing up Hayes on the 2-year contract was a sign that Hladky might go, and I guess we'd look to bring in an older Ben Foster style keeper to sit on the bench for the rest of the season. But no, he's here, and he's here, and I guess he's happy to play in the remaining Pizza Cup and FA Cup games as and when they come.
Yep. Michael, extra year we had with Simpson. There's no need to bring him back from Swindon at Christmas. Yeah, I mean, we've kind of talked about the regrets there in the situation. You mentioned that as well, Seb. It did feel, strange one. But again, we don't really know what's gone on there. But from the outside, lots of questions there. And when the folks at the top 20 pod also intervene there and give a view, you kind of wonder whether something's not right there from an Ipswich perspective, at least. Yeah. Ben asked us about Macaulay Bonne. I think had a move For Charlton,
yeah, it sounds like it fell through very late on, didn't it? Yeah, the manager came out and said it was pretty much all done, and at the last minute something changed and they couldn't complete the deal. So I feel sorry for him. I think there were a few clubs who were rumoured to be after him on loan at the start of yesterday. You don't know how much of it is just hearsay and agent talk, do you? But I do feel sorry for him. I guess he's not really going to feature much for QPR. And I guess we'll see what happens in January. If Hadmay doesn't get the number 18 shirt, could we see a fairy tale return in January for Bond coming home to score the goals to send us up? Who knows? But I do feel sorry for him because I'm not sure he's going to feature much at all in the league for QPR.
No, yeah, it's a sad situation there, I guess. And I'm a little bit blunt and maybe a little bit of an outlier on this opinion. I'm just not sure he's a fit for the way that McKenna plays football. And I have, just a little bit, those, if he either needs to be more physical or he needs to be quicker like Jackson is. He's never really either of those things. I mean, he scored instinctive goals, didn't he, at the start of last season? And those goals sadly dried up, and we know about a challenging situation for him. But I just wonder whether he's a fit for the type of football that McKenna wants to play. And we know the number 9 for us isn't going to score maybe 30 goals, but they have a different role to play, and I'm just not sure he fits with either of those roles. But that's just me. We've got some recommendations to go to Wolverhampton from Callie. If you want to get some yellow chips, I don't know what yellow chips is. Is it curry sauce, Callie? Need to tell us about that. Gino, Cassio, Ladapo doesn't care. A Jot, how you say his name, according to our good friend Andy Warren. There you go. Third time's a charm. Lots of folk joining in, even into David's. Craig, is that Craig Fimbo, do we think? Read the weather. It looks like it'll be lovely here tomorrow in Berlin. Yeah, even to folk who are European based tomorrow, or maybe even in the States. There you go. Let's talk about Accrington then, shall we, Seb? And you tell us about where they find themselves in the league at the moment. Unbeaten, worth adding at the start.
They are, played one less game than most of us because the game against Forest Green was called off very late in the day. But they are unbeaten for the season. Currently sit 11th in the league, 7 points, 1 win, 4 draws, scored 8 goals and conceded 7. But 4 of those goals scored did come in that mental 4-4 game against Burton when they were like 4-2 up with 3 minutes to go.
Should have won by 4.
Somehow managed to draw it 4-4. The win came against Shrewsbury, and they've drawn against Charlton at home, Burton away, and MK Dons at home, and Exeter at home. They played midweek in the Pizza Cup against Rochdale, and it finished 3-3. It was quite a cracking game. They went 2-0 up, 2 goals in 4 minutes, put them ahead. Rochdale then scored 3 goals in 7 second-half minutes to go 3-2 up. It took a 94th minute equaliser to take it to penalties, and then Accrington won it on penalties 4-3. So quite a decent game, and they've played an extra half an hour of football compared to us. So hopefully that will go in our favour. The last time out,
changes, I said. Sorry,
they made changes. Yeah, they made changes. Last time out in the league was a 0-0 at home to Exeter. 18 shots, but only 2 on target. 2 big chances created, but both missed, and that is a running theme for them so far this season. Coleman's come out after the game and said that. He says we're simply not taking our chances. And I think you found some stats to back that up, didn't you?
Yeah, I was about to say they're the Derby County of League One, but they're a bit of a joke there, a bit of banter there. They've got the most shots taken per game on average in the whole of League One, and that at home that number stands at 20 shots per game on average for Accrington. They've also got the most shots on average per game from outside the area as well. 8.7 shots per game outside the area at home. But these are obviously low quality chances in respect of XG, aren't they, Seb? And this perhaps represents a challenge there. I wonder whether they've got similar issues with us in terms of the way they play and strikers. We'll come on to personnel, but yeah, what's Coleman had to say about this?
Well, he's come out and said, well, they're not hitting the target anywhere near enough with enough frequency. So backing up what you're saying, they're shooting, but they're just simply not hitting the target. They've got a relatively young squad. We'll come on to the makeup of their squad, but he's admitted they're integrating, younger players into a kind of new style of football and a new kind of formation for some of the players that arrived in the summer. So things are going to take time. But he simply says we're conceding too many. We're having plenty of shots, but we're just not. We haven't got the quality in front of goal at the moment, basically.
Do you want to remind us about the fixtures against Accrington last season? I mean, the away game was kind of very typical of the Paul Cook era, wasn't it?
Yeah, wasn't that just after we battered Doncaster 6-0? I'm sure it was the game straight afterwards, wasn't it? We went 1-0 up at half-time, Bond scored, and then they scored twice in the second half through, who was it? It was Pell got one of them, didn't he? I can't remember who
Bishop,
the other one.
I think.
Bishop Cole, of course. Yes, Cole Bishop, who's since moved on. And it was the game where Pell booted the ball out of the stadium in the, whatever it was in the second half, and Morsey kind of went crazy and called them all a pub side or a non-league side or whatever. So, yeah, bit of spice. We beat them later on in the season, that 2-1 game at Portman Road in, I think it was January or February time. We went 1-0 behind to Ethan Hamilton, but then Burns equalised and then Chaplin won it. And, of course, that was the game where Morsey was caught on camera, wasn't he, with that? He didn't do anything wrong, did he? But he got blown up on social media by a vocal owner that Accrington have. And he got was it 3 games in the end or 4 games I think he got banned for, which was, stupid. But there we go. So there's a bit of needle between the two sides based on last year. And I'd imagine Mr. Morsey will probably be way up for tomorrow.
Yeah, well, and the owner, the aforementioned owner, Andy Holt. I don't know if anyone watched Gab Sutton's live stream Q&A with Andy Holt this morning. Sadly, I'd work, but he is someone who is getting a bit of a reputation, Seb, and given the amount of expenditure that Ipswich Town have made with Accrington, Jackson, Danasi and Burgess,
we paid for their stand or something.
I mean, we basically paid for everything, haven't we? No,
I think we paid for I think they developed a whole stand, and it was pretty much on us. Yeah, for the Jackson and Danasian deals back in 2018.
Put a roof on the away end for you guys, eh?
Yeah, but yeah, no, he's very outspoken. He's got the the coverage at the moment with the iFollow thing that's been going on. So,
do you want to give us your view on that?
Sorry,
or not? Do you want to give us your view on that or not?
My view is that the argument is okay up until the point where the club can't sell any more away tickets. At that point, it becomes simply irrelevant. So if they give us 1,200 tickets and we sell 1,000, okay, no problem. The first 200, the amount that those extra 200 fans would give to the club, fair enough. They can have a share of that from iFollow. After that, it's pointless. So stop going on about it. You can't claim 5,000 passes if your away end holds 1,000, can you? It's simple economics. So
there you go. Settled it, sorted it, fixed it right here, right now.
Yeah.
Talk to me about John Coleman as well. Obviously, very experienced manager. Been there quite some time now, hasn't he? Talk to us about his record.
Yeah, he's closing in on 700. I think he's passed 710 games in charge. He's had 2 spells there. He was first there from August 1999, so the start of our promotion season, up until January 2012. Then he went elsewhere, and he came back in September 2014. Has been there ever since. So in his second spell in charge, he's managed 416 games, 174 wins, 97 draws, and 145 losses, 1.49 points per game. And he's done well, hasn't he? When he takes over, they're 17th in League Two at the end of his first season. Next year, they finish in the playoffs in League Two. They finish 4th. Drop back down the year after in 2017 to 13. Then they go and win the league in 17-18. And then since they've been in League One, they've never really been threatened by relegation, have they? They've had pretty comfortable finishes of 14th, 17th, 11th, and 12th. I mean, they were 1 place below us, albeit 9 points different last year because the league had that weird split, didn't it? But he's a good manager who gets the best out of what he's got. Obviously, the budget, they can't compete with some of the bigger boys in the league. So he's a well-schooled manager. Was it him and Paul Cook were like best mates?
Yes, Scouts Mafia.
2 Scouts as best mates, and he's done a great job there based on the resources that he's got.
Yeah, well, should we talk about worth reflecting at this stage that Accrington punching above their weight in terms of their stature and history and so on. So, kudos to Andy Holt, kudos to John Coleman, and it's a difficult place to go as we know, and it's we'll talk about the personnel now. Let's talk about the transfers first and foremost. Tell us about these, because I guess it's more about the players they've lost this summer rather than maybe who they've brought in. Tell us about that, Seb.
Very much so. So 10 arrivals and 7 departures. The only fee they paid was yesterday for a guy called Bailey Sloan, who came in from Clitheroe. I mean, that's good. It's an undisclosed fee, but you're not talking much at all, are you? The guy started at Chester and he went to Clitheroe and then joined Accrington. So that's the only fee they've spent this summer. They've lost an awful lot of experience from those kind of, the players that really contributed to those mid-table finishes. They've lost a lot of experience from them. So the players that have come in, the ones we've all heard of, is Sean Wally, the guy that scored the worldie volley against us for Shrewsbury back in April, I think it was. He's kind of a right forward / right midfielder who can do a bit of a job in the kind of attacking roles, but he's 34 now, so he's a bit of a stopgap. Baba Fernandez is a name I recognise. He's come through the Forest Academy. He's a defender. He's joined Accrington on a permanent deal this year. And Doug Thame has joined on loan from Blackpool as well. He's a kind of he's very young, but he's a player who, you look like I've pronounced it wrong. Have I said it wrong already?
There's a vowel there I've got Doug Tharm or Tharme.
Oh yeah, I can't read. I'm getting old. I need my glasses on. He's on loan from Blackpool.
It's my job. That's all I'm here to do, mate. You do all the research. I correct you in a pedantic way. That's my job.
Thanks. He's on loan from Blackpool, and he'll probably play tomorrow as one of the back two. But it's all about the players they've lost. The biggest one we know is Colby Bishop, obviously gone to Pompey and started the season in great form. He scored 32 goals in 109 league games for them, so he's a big loss. Ross Sykes went to a Belgium side, Union SG, 101 appearances since he joined them in the last 5 years or so. So again, more experience out the door. Matt Butcher's gone to Plymouth, central midfielder, 76 appearances in the last 2 years. So again, there's a running theme here of, the core of their side, the kind of, the spine of that team has been broken up this summer. And Harry Pell, the guy, ex-Cole U, I think he's a bit of a unit, if I'm rightly, the guy that booted the ball out in the game there. And he's quite gobby and quite opinionated in the Portman Road game. He's gone to AFC Wimbledon, 38 appearances last season. So they have lost kind of a spine of that side. And, I guess with these sides that do punch way above their weight, you do start to think, is your time naturally going to run out? And I guess we'll come on to some of their deficiencies, should we say, in the players that they've signed in the summer in a minute.
Yeah, worth mentioning, Harry Pellex, Cole U. My brother-in-law was massively shocked when he rocked up at Accrington, because I think he's from his family are all from the south of England. So that move,
that's why he wanted to move back. Yeah, he was going for the last year of his contract, and he wanted to move back down south. I bet Accrington's a pretty tough sell, to be honest, when you're trying to sell it to a partner and a family. Do you want to move from Essex up to Accrington? I can imagine that's
live in the Chester area, couldn't you? But yeah, if you're all your family and stuff, these are human beings, as we keep saying as well. But a lot of experience in Colby Bishop, Leamington alumni. Obviously doing great guns for Pompey as well. Let's talk about the kind of lineup and how this team will look. And you mentioned the ages. We'll talk about that as well. But worth mentioning, the average height of their outfield from the heights that I could find on the interweb, 6 foot, Seb. They've got quite a lot of their backline 6'4". Keepers are obviously 6'4" as well. So this is a team that is set up in a very deliberate, physical manner, playing a very kind of economic passing style. It's not a long ball team by any means, but we know they can mix up if they need to. But it is going to be a tough challenge for certainly some of our more attacking players tomorrow, isn't it?
It is, yeah. I mean, the centre backs are tall. Thankfully, Michael Nottingham is out. I think he's like 6'4". I remember him at Portman Road. He was huge, but he's out tomorrow. So they play a 4 at the back. They've had a bit of sort of dabbling so far this season. We've seen a 4-4-2, a 4-4-1-1, and a 4-1-4-1. So it'll be a variation of those kind of formations.
There's a 3 at the back on the midweek. It would be your police there as well against Rochdale. I think they dabbled with the 3 at the back. They experimented, but in the league it's been a 4. 4-1-4-1 was the most recent used, so I've kind of assumed they might go for that again and look to have that player kind of sitting and looking to kind of break up play and kind of disrupt the pattern. It'll be Lucas Jensen in goal. The back 4 will be Mitchell Clark, who's only 23, 2 assists so far this season. The previously mentioned Douglas Tharm, Ryan Astley, and Harvey Rogers. They will all be the back line. Joe Pritchard and Liam Colby, the central. Oh, we've lost Seb. I can do this bit. So we've lost Seb, but we've got Liam Coyle, who's sitting in defensive midfield. He's only 22. And Ethan Hamilton is the person to watch out for. He's the shot king, 3.4 shots per game on average, leading scorer as well, but only with 3 goals. Tommy Lee, Sean McConville might be familiar to folk as well. The king of the assists last season. And also he's the top scorer with 3 goals, apologies. Joe Pritchard is a name I think I've mentioned before as well. But the issues are up front. So they got Corey Adedoyin, 1 goal in 5 appearances. I'm going to remove Seb out of this. There you go. Just me. This is like Wayne's World and Garth when he's kind of, I'm having a good time. Matt Lowe involved on Tuesday. He could come in. But Longello injured out. We talked about Nottingham injured out. Baguelo injured out. David Morgan injured out. So there is a little bit of issues with availability for them. And we were going to talk about before Seb disappeared. Ages of players also a challenge here as well. Talk to us about players' ages, Seb. Reached out the route, didn't you?
No, it wasn't the internet. Matt came up saying it was overheating, which I've never seen before. It is very hot, but yeah, weird. If it goes again, I'll jump on the phone. Sorry, I'm sure you.
Ages of players. We're about to talk about how peak years.
Yeah, it's a weird side. So the peak players, they haven't really got any. They've kind of got this old brigade of McConville and Nottingham and the guy they signed in the summer, Sean Wally, and then they've kind of got the players they've bought in the window. So they've clearly got a clear development strategy. They buy players in the kind of early 20s, look to development, and then sell them on, as they did with, the likes of Colby Bishop and stuff. But it means they haven't got these kind of peak, the 27 to 31 age range. They basically haven't really got any of those kind of peak players. And I just thought that was an interesting fact, and would explain why, they've got some deficiencies in certain areas of the side.
In terms of just a bit of revision, in case you want to correct or enhance or improve what I was saying when I was desperately floundering on my own.
I'm sure you padded like an absolute professional.
Ethan Hamilton in central midfield is probably the one he's the one who has these shots from range.
Morsey. Yeah, he got involved with Morsey, didn't he, in the Portman Road game? It was him that was involved, yeah.
So he's one to watch out. And Sean McConville as well. I've mentioned top scorer, but also the king of the assists last season as well, wasn't he?
He was last year, yeah. 3 goals. He'll play on the left of the midfield, but he likes to drift inside. And yeah, he's got 3 goals so far this season. So he's their biggest threat so far, because the strikers so far haven't really kind of performed. They're probably going to go with you're going to laugh at my pronunciation now, aren't you?
Adedoyan.
Sorry?
Adedoyan.
Thanks.
Is what I'm going with.
He's only 21 though, 1 goal in 5 appearances. I think they might start Matt Lowe, because Matt Lowe scored and got an assist against Rochdale in midweek in the Pizza Cup. So I'd imagine he might well come into the side and start in that kind of upfront role.
Yeah, Josh Woods is another one who played on Tuesday who folk like there as well. So he might be one to look out for. Should we start talking about Ipswich before we go back to the comments and see what folk have got to say? We know that Aluko is sadly going to be out for the long term. We know that Kamara isn't yet fit. He's got a groin injury that so he'll be kind of nursed back to fitness. I guess the questions are about Adame, about Chaplin, and Carl Edwards had a really excellent display against Northampton. Does he get a chance maybe? Talk to us about your thoughts on us, on our team, Seb.
Adama, yeah, you put him on the bench straight away, wouldn't you, for that kind of, the 60, 70-minute 3 triple subs. You'd have him on the bench to replace Ladapo after Ladapo's kind of battered them and tired them out, I guess. Edwards played in the right wing-back role against whoever he played in the week, Northampton, didn't he? Obviously, he's not going to feature there because Burns came back and Burns is fit. Do you think you'd play him alongside Harness in one of the number 10 roles tomorrow?
He could do that.
Would you be playing John Jules? And what did he get? 2 assists, 3 assists against Northampton. 3. So yeah, played really, really well. I'd be happy to see him alongside Harness in more of a central position. That's where he played at Shrewsbury when he came on. He kind of filled in that number 10 role. We know him mainly from playing out wide, don't we? But I'd have no issue if he's alongside Harness there behind Ladapo. Do you think it's a game for? I think you think Burgess will start, don't you, to combat some of the height and physicality, and I think Lee might for the very same reason. Lee's got a really good jump on him. He tends to use him when we're facing big physical sides. Accrington like their long throws, they like their set pieces with McConville, so I wouldn't be surprised if Greg Lee were to start. And I guess, as one of the guys said, Davis went off last week, didn't he, after he got hacked down for the non-penalty, ended up going off eventually in the second half. So no mention on the pre-match presser, but I guess if there is a doubt, then Lee is a more than able understudy who might well get some game time to combat the physicality.
We like Lee, don't we? Thoughts about the kind of front three then? Are you going with Edwards?
I'd go Ladapo up front, obviously. Scored in midweek, so hopefully he'll be, well, that'll set him off, give him a world of confidence now. It was great, wasn't it, when everyone went to him on Tuesday night and McKenna gives him a big hug after the game. So I'd be going for Ladapo. We're 2 very high pressing sides, aren't we? They press and we press. We're both in the top 5 for pressing efficiency so far this season, which apparently is a thing now.
Pressing efficiency, Seb. What does that mean?
It's a thing, apparently. So we are 60. I can't remember. I noted it on here somewhere because I texted you about it earlier.
Sounds like management speaking. I know you hate that.
You're not thinking of the whole pie, Richard. Ours is 60%. So that means that 60% of the time we are able to stop teams entering our half without giving away fouls.
There you go.
Whatever that means. 60% of the time, it works every time. And they're 55% efficiency. So it's 2 very high pressing sides that are going to be going up against each other. So part of me also thinks, will he start Jackson because of that, pressing
I wonder ability. Whether we might go for pace.
Yeah. You look to stretch it at the top of the pitch and try and drag them out of shape a little bit because they'll be very organised and very tough to kind of break down. So do you go for pace? So we see maybe Harness and Jackson behind Ladapo to kind of stretch the game. It'll be intriguing as to what he does.
I've kind of talked myself out of Ladapo starting, but only because I quite like the idea of Jackson's
pace. Would you put Jackson up front, would you?
Yeah, because tall centre-backs are very, very quick.
Yeah.
And that's my thinking there. But it is a really intriguing prospect as to how he faced this opposition and deal with it, because Burton has probably taught us a lot about how to play teams like Accrington. Obviously, Accrington are a lot more functional and schooled at this way of playing. But I think the playing out from the back thing, I wonder whether we see Walton go long rather than playing out short, because I worry that Accrington might be in our faces a little bit as well. So this could be a really tight one, Seb, couldn't it? Are you feeling confident? We'll talk about predictions shortly, but are you confident?
Always confident, me. I'm always confident when it comes to the Ipswich Town predictions.
Yeah,
so I think it'll be a tough game. Yeah, I think it'll be a tough game. I think it'll be very similar to Burton. I think they'll press us, and hopefully we've got the quality to break them down. I don't think it'll be a high-scoring game by any stretch of the imagination.
Let's have a look at the comments then. David's thinking banana skins. Do we want to be overly positive, Seb, or do we want to be a bit realistic? I think a bit of both. Bergen,
be happy.
Yeah, David Bergen, I'm feeling you, but I think we've got enough. There's enough about us. Callie, hopefully we've answered Callie's question, but given you disappeared at just the wrong moment. So do you want to reiterate your thoughts on the danger men for Callie?
McConville, he's the top scorer and the assist maker. He's good at set pieces. The guy on the left wing, he'll be their biggest threat tomorrow. I would think he'll look to kind of anything in and around the box. He'll be taking free kicks. He'll look to swing the corners in, and based on who's left, he's their biggest threat, I'd say.
We haven't really heard too much about Chaplin. Obviously, the chat in the presser was that he was going to train this morning and on Friday morning, and we'd have a look at him. Obviously, one of our key form players right now. But yeah, it'd be good to have him available, wouldn't it?
It would, but obviously Harness missed out last weekend, so he'll come straight back in. And, I guess you've got enough options in Tyrese, John Jules, Jackson, Edwards, to fill in the other number 10 vacancy. If there's any doubts, don't risk him because of what's coming on the horizon with Sheffield Wednesday and Plymouth in 3 and 4 weeks, respectively.
Michael, I feel we have a few more S-House players in our group now, so we'll not get pushed around by other teams. Do you agree with that one, Seb?
More physicality as well. Yeah, I do. We've got, we're tougher now. We're bigger. We're stronger. We're more athletic, and I think that all adds into not being pushed around. Sometimes you go to these away games and you'd have, like you said earlier, the 6'4" centre backs would be towering over our players. But we've got a bit of physicality now. We can kind of give it. Morsey's the king of that. We can give it out a little bit. So I'm not too worried about being bullied.
And I think I agree. Adame's got a little bit of that about him, hasn't he? So, yeah, it'd be good to see that. Mark Beck, even Mark, one of the Telegram group crew, Glassjaw Hamilton. Round 2 with Morsey. We'll find out. Round out. Ding, ding. Cornish Mariner, Harness and John Jules will be good for twisting and turning through tall defenders. Do you agree with that, Seb?
Yeah, potentially. Yeah, they're tricky, aren't they? And, defenders don't like to be either dragged out or have people running at them. So, yeah, that's a great shout.
I'm just hearing, there you go. A lot of chat about me on my own and your MacBook, Seb.
I don't know what's wrong with it. It's red hot. No idea.
Is it on something? Is it on the oven?
No, it sits on a tray on top of something else. So it's never done it before. It's bizarre.
Charlie D's got the same issue.
Can I get a new one from the Blue Monday Fund?
Put it in the comments. Do it. No. I know you.
Yeah, go on.
Say yes.
Yeah, go on. No, vote.
People say yes to that. No.
You've spoken.
No.
Go on.
No. Denied. David Bergen's doing his best for you, though. David, you've been super generous the last few weeks.
Yeah.
We will get that mug to you as well. If you're sure you just want a mug, but we'll get that sorted. Thank you. If you want to support us, you can do so via Super Chat if you're watching on YouTube. The main thing I think, as we keep saying every week, is for you guys just to subscribe, to like what we're doing, leave us a review, obviously, hopefully positive, and enjoy what we do. We do this for free. We never expect folk to subscribe or to do a paid subscription or anything like that. That's all be free. But any support you can offer in the respect of giving us a thumbs up on the videos and giving us a review. If you want to vote for us in the Football Content Awards, footballcontentawards.com/voting for Best Podcast Football League. We'd be very grateful for that as well. But David, thank you once again for your generosity. And thank you everyone for your support. Very much appreciate that. Ian's back. Favourite Darlington FC? I remember you from last season. Tell us how Darlington are getting on. Very much not on my radar. So, but good to have you back with us and hope you are well as well. Callie, super chat.
Thank you, mate.
Callie,
much appreciated.
Thank you very much. Will you be there tomorrow, Callie? You can say hi to Seb in person. But yeah, thank you, Callie, for your support. Really appreciate that. The Midlands, massive representing us there. I've lost my accent. It's every day I get a little bit more East Anglian, so I need to head back to the Midlands and get my accent back. Mark's asking, I'm sure, pretty certain, Mark, this is the question we have whenever Ian's back on. Is Alan Armstrong still the manager? I think he was ill, wasn't he? But hopefully he's come back strong and still doing well there. We'll come back to that in a second. Shall we do some predictions, Seb? Let's look at the round of fixtures ahead in League One. So what are you saying this week on... Do you know the scores, by the way? Do you know what...
I'm sure you're going to tell us and tell everybody.
Oh, no, it's fine. It's here's the results from last week, and it was another draw. So in terms of the way that you prefer to score it, we're still at 3-0 to the host.
You're so smug, aren't you? You love this. You're so smug.
Only because I get so much abuse from everyone, including our friend Mullet, if you're listening, or you might be in getting a vanilla latte with Seb at Starbucks somewhere in the north. Then I get so much abuse. So when I'm
not brave enough to order a vanilla latte in Accrington.
Yeah, get a black coffee and you'll enjoy it. Not a good week for us. No spot on predictions there, but I think we got quite a lot of the outcomes correct, as denoted by the Ambers. Telegram mixed bag as well there. The blue tinted spectacles for Ipswich Barnsley obviously came out there in full effect. And
that should have been right. I predicted 3-1, and it should have been 3-1. Apart from that awful refereeing decision, so I'm claiming that one.
So we do I need to now score a hypothetical version of the prediction where
what would happen if the refs weren't crap? Put that as a new table.
Sure. So overall, so 7-7 last week. No one wins the round. I maintain my generous gap there of 10 points. Not even that. It's 9, is it? No, it's 11.
11.
Oh, what happened, Seb? What happened? Dave's let you down, man. Do you want me to exclude Dave's
I had the shocker with Ben, didn't I? I think I got like 2 points the week Ben hosted. I told Ben to screw you over and have 5 all draws and 7-5 defeats. He made one joke one that was a 4-0 win, and it came true. So you got 3 points for it. So yeah, this feature needs to go. We need to bring something else in.
Well, by all means,
Seb's favourite colour. We'll do that one week.
Blue.
Yeah.
That's it. 1 week.
Oh no, I've lost.
Well, get your predictions in as well, folks. We'll come to those after we've gone through rapid fire what Seb and I are going for this week. Obviously, we're really keen to get your thoughts on Accrington v Ipswich as well. We'll come to those at the end. Lineups, also hear about those. So get those thoughts in the comments. We will come to those. We'll finish off with those. But let's have a look at what we're going for this week, Seb. Accrington Ipswich is the first up alphabetically, and we're both going for an away win. But I think maybe.
I think you might be right there.
Second thoughts on your 2-0. I was really close to going for a 0-0, I dare say.
I was close going for a 1-1, but I'm going to be confident. I'm going to be positive, score in the first half and then kill them off with 10 minutes to go or whatever. But I think your 1-0 is probably more accurate because they will be tough to play against and they will be tough to break down.
It might be a Burton part 2, mightn't it?
Yeah.
But as I think it was Jules was saying, these are the kind of games that we've dropped points before. And if we have any ambition of getting promoted, we shouldn't be fearing going to places like Accrington. It will be definitely a fierce contest, but we should be looking to win. And I think that's why I maybe went with that. And obviously the blue tinted spectacles were out in the Telegram group as well. Bolton, Charlton, we've both gone for a narrow home victory there. Charlton surprised us last week with a draw at Wickham. They're a bit up and down, but Bolton's home form probably the tipping point on this one, yeah?
I think so. Yeah, I mean, Bolton had a bit of a ropey run recently, but I think they'll get back on sort of track there.
Say a bit more while I'm having a drink. No,
didn't realise you were. Sorry.
Bristol Rovers, Morecambe. Yeah, Morecambe's
still they haven't won, have they? 3 losses and 2 draws, is it? So I think they've only scored 2 goals in the league as well. So Bristol Rovers have started okay. I can't see. They did a bit of business yesterday, Bristol Rovers as well. They brought in quite a few players, I think. So yeah, I think that'll be a fairly comfortable home win for them.
There you go, Cambridge, Lincoln. You're going for a draw. I like Cambridge at home.
Yeah, strong at home, aren't they? Yeah, but I don't know. I just think one of those strange results where the league could suddenly turn around. Lincoln brought a couple of people in yesterday. Teddy Bishop's in some fine goal scoring form, so I'm pleased for him. So yeah, 1-1 and Teddy Bishop to score the Lincoln goal.
Lincoln like a draw as well. Derby, Plymouth. We don't like Plymouth's away form, do we? I think that's probably the reflection of that.
Exactly why we've gone for presumably why we've both gone for the Derby home win. Derby are okay at Pride Park. They, like you said earlier, they have lots of shots and stuff, and sometimes don't get the results they kind of maybe deserve. They were a bit lucky. Was it McGoldrick scored in the 94th minute? Was it against Peterborough last weekend? So they got out of jail with that one there. But Plymouth away are pretty poor, so I think Derby will win that one.
Yeah, Exeter MK, we're split on this one. You and Telegram going for the away win. I'd quite like Exeter at home. I'm not sure many folk will like going down to Exeter. It's a long old trip, isn't it? And MK's form is still a little bit mixed for me. I'm going for the draw. What's your thoughts on that one?
I just figured it because, at some point MK will get themselves up and firing, so I kind of figured the natural order will start to, I know Exeter have started really well, but you kind of do expect the natural order to kind of take back over and they start to move down the league a little bit. MK Dons have drawn and won in their last 3 games, so they're on a bit of a roll. So I think they'll pick up points there.
And we think draws for Fleetwood and Wickham. Yeah, Fleetwood are like draw specialists, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly why. And Wickham weren't on a great run of form. They lost 3 on the bounce. They then beat Barnsley, and I think they drew last weekend, didn't they? So yeah, I've gone for a fairly predictable 1-1 draw there.
Forest Green, you think they'll get a point? I'm not sure. Forest Green, I think Shrewsbury away are better than Shrewsbury at home at the moment, but you're going for a 0-0.
Yeah, 2 sides that don't really score that many goals, and Forest Green have kind of struggled a little bit. So I don't think they'll win the game, but I don't think they'll lose it. I was so unimpressed with Shrewsbury 2 weeks ago now, 3 weeks ago. So I think that'll be a fairly dull 0-0 draw.
Fair enough. Oxford, Burton, we're continuing. Is that more about Oxford or more about Burton? Bit of both. Hashtag.
Yeah, but I mean, Burton lost somebody else again today. They lost Lewis Malt today as well. So they lost Dadmay yesterday to us. They lost Lewis Malt today. So, the poor Hasselbank must be tearing where the hair he's got left out. But yeah, they are the whipping boys so far this season. I thought after we beat them, I saw enough there. I thought they might go on a little bit of run, but they didn't. Was it 4-3? They lost to Cambridge. Was it last week or something?
Yeah.
So I think Oxford will win that one, and Oxford will start to get themselves up and running because they've given themselves a bit of a work to do to challenge the top 6 now, haven't they?
Yeah. What did Oxford do last week? They won, didn't they?
They won. Yeah.
First win of the season against Cheltenham, I think it was. There you go. Cheltenham. Finally, what else we've got? Port Vale, Cheltenham.
Home win, I reckon. Port Vale. Bit of business yesterday. I've gone for 2-0.
Yeah, I'm regretting that prediction, but I don't know what it is. I did some research on that one, and for some reason I couldn't see past the draw.
Did you use science?
I used Seb Science, yeah.
Okay,
so
excellent.
Let's see how that worked out for me next week.
Yeah.
Pompey, Peterborough, another one of these kind of the last kind of 2 games there, Portsmouth, Peterborough, Sheffield Wednesday, Barnsley. Always seems to be these top 6 teams playing each other. And we're going for split decision here. I don't think Peterborough are good away, and I think Portsmouth are good at home. You're going for a draw. And Sheffield Wednesday, we're both going for the narrow victory.
Well, it's great for us, isn't it, that Portsmouth and Peterborough, one of them's going to be dropping points, or hopefully both dropping points. I guess we'd probably want the draw in that scenario, wouldn't we, if we can get a win tomorrow to kind of retake our rightful place at the top of the table. I just think there's goals in both sides. Bishop started so well. They just signed Josh Kimura, haven't they, yesterday from Huddersfield, is it? Scarlett's there. The Harry Kane of League One, Joe Pigott obviously is there. So I think Pompey have got goals, and we know Peterborough have got goals. They're still averaging probably 2.5 goals per game so far this season. So I can see that being a bit of a rip-roaring one. They'll be 0-0 now. You watch 0-0.
Yeah, and your thoughts on Sheffield Wednesday, Barnsley? Obviously,
a narrow Yorkshire derby. Barnsley very, very up and down. I think we saw.
That was their first away point last week against us. The first point on the road for them. I think.
They're very up and down. Obviously, will Norwood be suspended? Do you get suspended in the league if you get sent off in the cup? I don't know. If you know that, stick it in the comments. Yeah, I'm not sure about that one. But potentially they've lost Norwood there, and Sheffield Wednesday. I think they've started. I know they lost to Peterborough, but they've won 4 out of the last 5, so starting to purr a little bit.
There you go. Get your thoughts and the predictions. We'll come to those in a second, but in terms of. Well, we don't like to say dead certs, do we? But the confidence levels from Telegram suggest wins for Bristol Rovers. We'll ignore the Ipswich Accrington one, shall we? That's always going to be an outlier. A win for Oxford and a win for Sheffield Wednesday. Otherwise, pretty split there on the old Telegram voting. Bolton maybe as well, looking good as well. And we will come back next week and we'll figure out whether Seb's
how
magic
many more points you are ahead
science has worked out for him or not. We'll be back after this. So worth mentioning a few bits and pieces before we wrap up with the final comments and thoughts before we head into Ipswich Accrington. This show is brought to you in partnership with our friends at the Greyhound. The pre-match situation at the ground gets better every week. So obviously an away game this week, the Greyhound is still open.
Just go and sit in the ground and watch it on iFollow.
Well, no, legally, all that stuff. Oh, don't get us in trouble, Seb. Watch it from Amsterdam or wherever. Do head to the Greyhound. But Russell Osman reading the teams out is now a common occurrence there with Dave Diamond comparing it. So that's a double act that I don't think anyone, particularly Dave, ever expected would be happening there. So head to the Greyhounds, give them your support. It's always a great atmosphere there pre-match. Said down there as well. Telegram, Seb, talk to us about Telegram very briefly.
As we say every week, it's a great community we're building. The chat in there is reasoned and respectful, and we debate everything. We've got 6 or 7 groups. We had a transfer deadline group, which was brilliant, much to your disgust yesterday with stuff flying left, right, and centre. I was working yesterday, so I was struggling to keep on top of it all. And suddenly I'd look at my phone and there'd be like 200 messages, and I'd think, oh, we signed somebody, but we haven't. It's just people going back and forth. It's great. Give it a go. It's 2 weeks on us. You won't pay for the first 2 weeks. You've got absolutely nothing to lose and a lot to gain. It's great seeing some of the familiar names in the chat tonight, and it's a really great community, like Twitter used to be, for decent Ipswich Town footballing debate without the clientele that Twitter attracts these days.
Indeed, yeah, I can't say better than that. We mentioned the FCA awards, those close at the weekend. If you want to support the podcast, and we know that not everyone can afford to put their hands in their pockets and make a donation, we do appreciate folk who do that. And footballcontentawards.com/voting there. Lots of drop downs. You can pick other content creators as well. You can vote many times as well, so feel free to vote. There's plenty of Ipswich Town podcasts, so feel free to vote for those as well. But if you feel like you would like to vote for us, then please do that for Best Football League podcast. The merch store has a 15% discount as well. Get yourself a hoodie like Seb, a baseball cap, t-shirts, a teddy bear. We've got all kinds of, he swore there, all kinds of lovely stuff there. 15% off. So get involved in that. That's another way to support the podcast and get something back in return.
I will say as well, on the sizing, it's not like the club shirts. You don't need to buy one up. Just buy what you are, and it fits perfectly.
There you go. Perfect consumer advice there. They come from Germany as well, so you don't want to be sending stuff back. I don't know how that works. So merch store is available. Blue Monday, ITFC.co.uk. You can see that at the top of the screen if you're watching on YouTube. Everything is linked there. All the details for our shows, our social media. Worth noting, obviously, we've got a transfer deadline day live show that went out on Thursday with Craig and Joe and Phil. That's still available. Get involved in that. The flagship show will be back live, as always, 8 p.m. on Sunday. As Seb mentioned right at the top, it's episode 600. We've been going for 8 seasons now, and we are ticking up 600 episodes. Hopefully, as many of the pod team as we can get there on Sunday as we can. Seb obviously at Accrington, so we'll be taking centre stage, no doubt, and giving us his views. But as always, as we've said, if you're watching on YouTube, do give us a thumbs up. Do subscribe if you haven't already, and then our content lands in your subscription feed without you even having to lift a finger. And if you're listening on the podcast and would like to give us a review, please do so on your app of choice. And please say hello to us on social media as well. Blue Monday ITFC on the Twitter. If you are listening to this while on the way to the game, take a photo of you watching or listening to this on the way. If you're in the bus or the coach or the back of Seb's car, then let us know you're listening. We always love to hear from you and get the interaction on a match day. Anything else, Seb, before we go to the comments?
No, I think you've pretty much ticked it off there.
Cool. Let's go back and see what folk are saying. And good news, Alan Armstrong still at Darlington. Ian has confirmed. So thank you for that. And Darlington are just above mid-table in the National League North, the 6th tier of English football.
That must be the same league as Chester, I'm guessing. Yeah.
There you go. Rivalry. Can we create something? Lots of chat about Ian. Oh, Alan Armstrong. Mark's talking about that. Lots of stuff there. My only claim to fame, says Mark. Infamous. What was that? I missed that. What was that? Mark, I missed that. What's your claim to fame, Mark? I don't know what it is. Now I don't know. No, I'm not so sure. Here come the predictions. 1-0 says Charlie D. Harness to score player of the month, obviously. Marcus Harness. Who did you vote for player of the month, Seb? Could be anyone.
Vote, I'll be honest.
Whoa.
When was it out? I must have missed that. When was it out?
It was on the ITFC Twitter yesterday, I think, Thursday.
Work. It was deadline day and I was at work. And I was doing all the research for this. I can't do 3 things at once, man.
Goodness me.
Who are the candidates? I would have voted for Harness, to be fair.
6 of them. Walton was in there.
Harness or Chaplin, or Lee Evans. Lee Evans, Harness would have got it, yeah.
Harness was my pick as well. Jack Saunders, 4-0. The Dapo's first league goal would be good to go on a bit of a run, wouldn't it? Cornish Mariner, he's going for a 2-1, 2 good goals for Town and a scrappy one conceded from. Yeah, we've got history with corners, haven't we? Yeah. Need to be checking our zones and our overloads and our runners, don't we? Michael's going for a 3-1. He's going for a lot of love for Ladapo, plus a header from a defender direct from our corner There's another prediction for that. And a pen. Who would take it? Who would take a penalty, Seb?
If Chaplin was playing, it'd be him because he took it against Gillingham back in January, didn't he? In McKenna's 4-0 win. But if he's not there, Lee Evans.
Harness. Lee Evans is a good shout, yeah. David's going for the 1-0. David's continuing the... I think, David, are you like me? Like, lower your expectations so that if we were to win, you're even more happy. That's the kind of way I think about it. David's going for a 0-2. Tough place to go. But the thing that will carry us through this year is cohesion. As Harry says, it's covalent bonds. Hope all is well with Harry. Yeah, I haven't spoken to him for a while. Jack is confirming the covalent, covalent bonds. We love those. Callie wants to talk about Telegram. I'm not going to put that up, Callie, but you can focus see that in the live chat. Tim asking about BM representation in the fans forum on Monday. I'm not aware of that, Tim. I am not. I've been to a couple of them before, so I kind of thought, well, now it's time for other people to get the ability to ask questions about why they can't use cash to pay for stuff on a match day, or why they get parking tickets.
Or there'll be hell to pay.
Parking tickets on a match day and all that kind of stuff. No, I hope folk do exploit their opportunity to ask questions from people with power and influence at Portman Road. Callie's voted for us in the FCA. Thank you very much, mate. Very much appreciate that. There is some stuff in the chat that I would love to put on there. Charlie D, I'm going to keep that there. I think if you're watching on YouTube, you can go and find the chat on replay, but some interesting thoughts on that. Charlie D, enjoy the game. Everyone agree with that. Jack, maybe some added extras in the beer merch, not on the basis of what was discussed on the Thursday deadline day live chat by Craig and Joe and the group on there. Not if I've got anything to do with it. Robert back still in Hungary. We guess Robert going, come on, you Blues. Mark, safe journey to everyone making the trip. It's a long old poke. Great show from Mike. Thank you, Michael. There you go. Everyone keeping up with the likes. Yeah, appreciate that. There you go, Mark. There's a namesake striker called Mark Beck who scored against Ipswich and Carlisle in the League Cup. There you go. If you've got a football namesake, then let us know. I don't think there's any Richard Woodwards or Seb Browns out there, is there, Seb? Mark Beck's.
There is. Tell a lie. There is a Seb Brown. He was a goalkeeper for AFC Wimbledon, and there was a Facebook page called the Seb Brown Appreciation Society.
That you started?
No. But back when, framing people on Facebook was funny, I took loads of my friends' phones and liked it, so they all joined that group. Yeah, banter. Just an example of the laughs we have.
Love that. Caddy's going for a 4-1. He's going confident. Morsey, Arnis, Ladapo, and Burns.
That'd be brilliant. Party central if that happens.
Robert's driving home from Hungary tomorrow with a grumpy 6-year-old in the back. Good luck with that, Robert. Good luck for you. And David's just voted for us in the FCAs. Thank you for that as well. I think that's a lot, Seb. Thank you, everyone. If you've made it this far, the loyal Friday night live show crew, we appreciate you. Thank you if you liked. Thank you if you've gotten involved in the comments. If you want to see more of these shows live on a Friday or maybe a Thursday night, depending on availability, then let us know in the comments or pop us a tweet, Blue Monday ITFC. We have been doing a little bit of a different situation with these and just sticking the predictions out on YouTube. But if you want to see more of these, I'm sure Seb and I would be willing. So we appreciate you. And Seb, I'll let you sign off and do your usual goodbye to everyone.
As always, I'll be the positive one. Safe journeys for everyone heading up there. Come and say hello if you see any of us in the ground tomorrow. Hopefully, we'll set a new club record of 4 away wins on the bounce at the start of the season. And as always, come on, you Blues.